The last part of the OFNR, observation, feeling, needs, requests, is request. So in needs, we were trying to not jump ahead to a strategy too quickly, but now at requests, now we're working at the strategy level. So Marshall says that all conflict is at the level of strategy. So that's why it's really important to identify the need first, our need and the other party's need, or the two parts of ourself. It might be two decisions that we're struggling to make, two parts of a decision. And so now we're at the request level. We're thinking of the request in terms of in relation to the need. So to meet my need for support, what could I do to meet that need? I could ask my partner to do the dishes. I could pay for a cleaner to come in. I could go to talk to somebody about it. I could meet with I could see if my friends want to do a weekly busy bee cleaning at everyone's house once a week. I can get really creative at this level. When I'm making a request of another person, in nonviolent communication, what we're looking for is willingness from the other person, rather than forcing them or coercing them into doing our behavior, because we're not looking to control, manipulate, punish the other person when we're using nonviolence. So at this level, at this stage of the four-part sentence, we're looking for a request and not a demand of the other person. And the only difference between those two things is not the language. It doesn't matter how pretty we make the language. The difference between a request and a demand is, am I willing to receive a no? Is the other person allowed to say no to me? And if we're not okay with a no, then it's a demand. And sometimes this is appropriate with parenting or in uneven power situations. Sometimes we're not making a request, and in those circumstances, I think it's just better to be upfront and honest about that. But in a partnership or anywhere where we have the space to be able to take both sides into account, what we're looking for here is willingness, which means that we are okay to receive a no, and if someone doesn't want to do the thing for us, we can go back to ourselves and we can think of another way to meet that need, because needs are not person specific. When we're making a request, we can make a request of ourselves. We can ask ourselves, am I willing to do the dishes? We can make a request of someone else. And when we're asking someone else to do something, we can ask them to do an action for us. Are they willing to do the dishes? Or we can make a connection request, something like, would you be willing to have a conversation about the dishes? Or would you be willing to tell me how that sounds? So we can check in with them and see if we're on the same page, if they're receiving us, if we're making sense.